Roland Willits, Home and Stories, mourning and visiting a special friend.
Roland Willits, Home and Stories. And I'm here today with my super buddy, Myra Goldick. And Myra and I are going to talk about a subject that she's queen of. We're going to talk about hospitals today.
Hospitals?
Yes, and you know, I got Terry sitting in the back there, and she's giving the thumbs down on hospitals, and I understand that. There is something that you avoid, but something you have to end up in. But there's ways, because you've been going long enough. Myra had polio when she was grown up, and she spent her time reforming hospitals from the inside.
No, I terrorized everybody. The moment I got into a hospital, I became a terror.
Oh, that's
no,
wonderful.
I'm only kidding.
I know. You just have fun. You give up being anything but fun, because they're all trying to do the best for you, aren't they?
Well, yeah, hospitals can be your best friend, and if you look at them as an enemy, they will be an enemy. So, you know, when you enter a hospital, it's by your, it's not really your choice. It's something that you have to do. So to make the best of it is the best way to approach a situation that nobody would willingly opt for unless they were the doctor, the nurse, the aide, or the administrator, and all the clericals that work to make the hospital run. The patient is a whole different story. Wouldn't you say that, Robert?
I absolutely agree with you. You know, every time I go into a hospital, it's for something I would rather avoid.
You know, the last time I was in the hospital was in 2011. And it was December, ending 2010. That's when it was. And I made a decision. I had to go in to have major surgery on my neck. I needed a fusion. And I made an absolute vow to myself that I would smile from the minute I hit the hospital to the minute I rolled out of the hospital, because you know how they always roll you in a wheelchair when you leave the hospital. They want to make sure that you're okay. And I did that. And I had the most wonderful time. And I have to tell you about it, because when I awakened, first of all, I had to be there at the crack of dawn, 6 a.m. Then they take you to the prep room, which is very cold and very scary. And they all come in and smile at you and say, hello, Myra, how are you? How are you feeling today? And ask you all the questions and go through all your little histories and this and that. And then they roll you off. But just before they roll you off, they put an IV in your arm, which makes you so relaxed, you think that the most wonderful, exciting thing is going to happen. And you just drift off. And you don't remember anything else. Hopefully you don't remember anything else until you open your eyes several hours later. For me, it was about 5 hours later. And I woke up in recovery. And the first thing I thought is, where the heck am I? And then I remembered. And I heard a voice from very far away. It sounded like from another planet. Myra, how are you? Myra, it's time to wake up. I didn't want to wake up. It was that place, that indescribable place when you're sort of floating nowhere. But I tried to focus, and I really couldn't see very well. But there was a light over my head, a very bright light. And in my line of view was the outline of the most beautiful nurse I had ever seen. And I smiled. Felt like my mouth was full of cotton, though. And I decided that she was an angel, and I was going to smile at her, and she smiled down at me. And that started my journey. And from that point on, I smiled at every single nurse, doctor, attendant, the people that come to take your blood. And I was asked more than once, at least 10 times, how come you're smiling? And I said, well, do I have a choice? How would you treat me if I was cranky and yelled at you? And they smiled back. And that's my hospital story from 2010. And it actually happened to be a really, really quick and easy experience, even though the surgery was major. But I was tough.
You got it. You got attitude, right?
I got attitude, and I spread that attitude around for anybody that walked in my room.
And, okay. Did you have anyone that handled it differently? You get a grouch that you turned?
Yeah, the first night when I was in intensive care, because it's such intensive care, they put you in a room with another person, and that lasts anywhere from 24 to 36 hours. I was in the room with everybody's nightmare. The woman screamed, yelled, moaned, hollered at everybody. I don't know if she was having a reaction to the anesthesia, but she scared everybody, including the doctors. She was awful. I couldn't wait till they got me away from her. I actually felt sorry for her because basically she, no matter how much pain and discomfort she was in, she must not have been a really nice person, because it felt like I was sharing a room with the devil.
And you got to be an offset on that, didn't you? Sort of like the Zin and Zan. What is that? The Zin and the Zan?
Zing, Zan. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, but it's, you have to make the best of any situation. That's just the way it is. It's attitude. Attitude is everything. You know, things happen that we don't like, but it's how we react to them that makes the difference.
Doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. So that, obviously, that my strange neighbor in the bed next to me wasn't having a good attitude when she went in, and she brought it with her and made everybody else miserable.
Yeah. Well, tell me, one of the things that I want you to tell me is what happened about 10 minutes ago after you got surgery and you might not move. What did you do in this RV? You were sitting in, by the way, we're sitting in an RV, but the background is not going to be that, or it might not be that. We'll pick it out together. But what did you do? What is it, a year later?
Everything.
You walked up those steps.
Oh, for those of you who don't know, Roland did mention to you that I had polio as a child, and I had 8 years recovery, and then I was good to go, I thought. I had a lot of damage, but I really had a great, fabulous life, and somewhere around my late 30s, early 40s, I developed post-polio syndrome, which is a rapid deterioration of the muscles. Well, they're really not muscles. They're really little sprouts that fool you into believing that you have regained all your strength. And if you use them too much, and you do too much activity and too much exercise and too much stress, they start to tire out and wear out and fade off, and you start reversing again and developing all new symptoms and more weakness as time goes on. And that's what happened to me. And it does happen to probably close to 50% of all polio survivors. And by the way, for anybody watching, don't be fooled into believing that polio is completely eradicated, because it's not. It's a virus that's out there and exists in the same places that it's always existed, and the only protection anyone has against developing or catching polio, remember, we're global, and there are still live cases of live polio virus out there in the world. So if you're thinking about not vaccinating your children or not vaccinating yourself, if you never received the vaccine, think again, because nobody wants this disorder. There is help. But anyway, I climbed up the steps to Roland's gigantic RV. I mean, it's a hotel on wheels. And it wasn't that easy. I had a little push and shove here and there.
Yeah.
But here I am.
Yes, Neil gets to play with your butt.
Oh. I think
I'm sorry, just joking.
Yeah, no, it's not. Okay.
Oh.
He's telling the truth.
Neil is her husband.
Yes.
Of 50 years, of a half century.
Well, but wait, we have to tell everybody that he married me at age 4.
Yes.
He's a pedophile.
Yes.
No, only kidding. Yeah, it's going to be 50 years in June.
Wow, that's special. And we're going to sign off. So what you do is you say, Myra Goldick, Old Man Stories, and spread your arms out and celebrate.
This is Myra Goldick, Old Man Stories, and this is my buddy, Rowan Willits.
Roland saying good night from Old Man Stories. Thank you.
Old Man Stories. Just one more day.